Hey, football head, it's your commissioner, Tim Dowling. What a difference a week makes. Joined once again by my vice commissioner, Alex McCauley. Welcome back. Were you out last week? No, it was the week before.
Yeah, it's just been a wild week, though.
It's been a long one.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. And producer Max is clicking around backstage doing his thing. But another week down, I feel like fantasy managers, we finally have a handful of data, some substance to really start informing our lineups and our matchups and our waiver wire additions with a little bit more grounding than the first month. You know, 1 month down. We're already in October. It's flown by.
Yeah, I mean, pretty soon we'll be at the midway point of the season, right? Most leagues, I feel like, play, gosh, I don't even know. Is it 13 weeks now? 13 or 14 weeks?
Keep adding games.
Yeah. But so, yeah, we're close. We're real close to the midway point here.
God. Well, yeah, bring up these power rankings. Let's see where the homies land.
This is great. I'm seeing all of this. So for the homies that don't know, I was out of town. I actually just made you can go into the recent activity. We'll see it here in a little bit. I just restructured my roster for this week, 10 minutes before we went live. So I'm seeing this all for the first time.
Well, I haven't been writing any kind of little haiku or zodiac horoscope for each team like I have the first few months. Last couple of weeks, just done the numbers. I figure we're going to talk about it on here, and I don't have time for that. You know, I think the members are spoiled a little bit. So I just did the number breakdown. There's a little bit of shakeup, but we have a new number 12 team, and this has been a rotating spot. There hasn't been a clear, garbage bin team really. But I got Bobby. If anyone is starting to stink a little bit right now after 5 weeks, it's Bobby. He's starting to smell a little bit. He is making some lineup changes, so he must be listening to the podcast, or because we've kind of called him out on his complacency. Hasn't helped him much, and he had a low scoring affair last week. He's 1-4. His points for is almost the least in the league, actually. Second least points for with 509. And he's a Travis Kelce drafter, so that doesn't help his case. He had Aaron Jones. He did have Cooper Kupp, Pacheco, so there's some injuries, but it's forced his hand. Bobby, I got you in the 12th spot. You better, this guy got second place last year, didn't he? He was in the championship. So maybe he got a little complacent. Then I just kept Breesby with you at the 11th spot, even though he is 0-5. Winless on the year. There can't be that many fantasy teams out there in the world that are 0-5. I'll tell you what, he's got the best one. You never seen a better 0-5 team than Breesby with you and Max's team here. He does have a lot of points for, and he loses a heartbreaker after putting up 140 points. He loses another close one, loses by 4 points.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see any of these scores.
Max, you maintain you still have a good team?
Yeah, I do. I still got a great team. It's hard. It's hard to put up 140 points and lose.
Wow.
I wouldn't expect that ever, especially against the CMC-less team. You were hoping that, we could go in there and Jordan Mason could get us at least 12 points, at least. But not to be this week. But that's all right, because we're going up against Chun this week, and we can't wait to be 1-5.
What
Yeah, I
plays?
mean,
Your boy Josh Downs comes through last week. I'm just looking at this performance. Incredible.
Kraft,
Tucker Kraft, your
huge
boy
game from Kraft.
Frankie Louvu. Yeah, we shouted him out last
Louvu.
week. Great plug and plays.
He Max was on here last week talking about 4-4. Not the case. He is 0-5, but this man has won 7 in a row and then immediately lost 7 consecutive. So he's a streaky fantasy owner. Don't count him out. I do think he has a good team, making some good plays.
AJ Brown returns this week. AJ Brown
Huge,
returns this week.
huge.
Can't
And
wait.
Javonte Williams was in double digits for you last week. So maybe that trade's starting to balance out a little bit.
Clear hearts, or was it clear eyes, strong hearts? Something
No,
like that.
no,
You're
yeah,
gonna
something like
have
that.
to look that one up. You're gonna have to look that one up. All right. Well, I got you in the 11 out of 12 spot. I haven't moved you. I didn't move myself either, even though I shocked the world and I beat Camille to get my first win on the year. It wasn't pretty. Camille only put up 90 points. I think I put up like almost 110. With a lot of help from the Vikings defense in London and the Houston Texans kicker, Fairbarn, whatever his name is. That's pretty much what did it for me, because the rest of my team is struggling. Gino was all right, but the Seahawks kind of struggled. I'm just happy to get on the board and get a win. Thank you, Camille, for doing me a solid. Appreciate that. I've moved Chun. The Chunder Achievers have moved up. They were my previous number 12 into the 9 spot. They are now 2-3 on the year. They had a monster week, honestly, against the Andy stack. They also put up over 140 points. And we were giving Chun a lot of shit about starting and sticking with Joe Burrow against Baltimore. And Chun's reasoning is he's got to do good. If the Bengals are going to win, Joe Burrow's got to do good. And I'll tell you what, good logic, great logic, because he was right. And Joe Burrow did good. Unfortunately for the Bengals, they still lost the game. It was a close one, but he stuck with Burrow. Josh Jacobs is good. Had a good week. DeAndre Swift had a great week. You kind of everyone goes off for Chun, including the rookie sensation, Brock Bowers, Chun's MVP in the tight end spot. Even Terry McLaurin, very consistent volume there as well. So Chun gets the big win, and I move him to the 9 spot. He could surprise some people. After that, we're looking at your team there, Alex. I've dropped you 4 spots. You are down from the 4th spot to the 8th spot. And I swear to God, if you yawn one more time, I'm kicking you off the show.
At least I'm doing it quietly. Yeah, I mean, just looking at my schedule, my opponents that I've played this year. I mean, I've already played Camille and Keffler and Colin, a lot of these names that you see at the top of the power rankings here. So just kind of done what I've had to do, I suppose. You know, Colin put up 150 on me last week, and so at least I saved myself the heartbreak. I always abide by the motto of I rather just, if I'm going to lose big, as opposed to, Max losing a close one there. Scoring 140 points is great. You never know when the points for a tiebreaker can come back and help you. And so, yeah, it's not good to put up 90 points or whatever I did last week, 98, I think. But
89.
at the same time, 89. Okay. But at the same time, I could have put up 120, 130, 140, wouldn't have mattered. Still would have lost to Colin's team who went off. But you know what? I think greener pastures are ahead just because I've played the top teams already this year. I get Bobby this week. So yeah, we're looking to get back to 300.
I'll tell you what, I'm not as optimistic for you. I'm not as optimistic. Perhaps, yeah, Bobby this week is a good matchup, but Mahomes continues to struggle. but Kansas City keeps winning. So it's
Yeah.
such a weird one. How does Kansas City win when Mahomes doesn't throw a touchdown? You've got P. Ryan out there, 2.9. Etienne is now hurt.
Yep.
Were these, I guess that's a good stack if they ever figure it out. I mean, I guess you have more faith that Mahomes
Well,
will
my
eventually
thing
year.
now is Worthy. I can play Worthy, I think, in weeks going forward because Kansas City goes on bye this week, and I'll get to this later when we talk about our matchup, or my matchup, excuse me. But like, this is a great week for Kansas City for fantasy managers who roster Kansas City players and who have felt frustrated by them because it's kind of been this. It's like Morgan with Joe Burrow, where I can't pull him out because sooner or later it's going to pop. It's going to pop. It's going to pop. Pat obviously hasn't had his game like that yet for the Chiefs, and who knows if he has it at all this year. But this is that week where you can now kind of have your hand forced to change your lineup around a little bit. So I got Kirk Cousins in there going against the Panthers defense this week. And if Cousins all of a sudden balls out like he did last week, I'm not saying he's going to throw for 500 yards again, but then coming off that bye week, it's going to be a lot easier to bench Patrick Mahomes because I'm already coming off a week of not having him. Same if you're a Travis Kelce owner. Same if you roster some of these other guys. Harrison Butker, who was drafted to be a top 5 kicker. He's just not been that this year. So this is kind of that time, I think, to where if you did invest in the Chiefs offense, you can kind of start to let go a little bit this week.
Interesting stat about Patrick Mahomes. He hasn't scored over 18 points in fantasy since week 12 last year.
Thank you for that, Max. That's a big old red flag, if you ask me.
Yeah, so we're around with Captain Kirk, maybe for the foreseeable future. So I like that.
Yeah, picked him up for free too. In the 7th spot, moving him up to Skunk Boy Part 2, Matt. I'm kind of looking at these. I'll be honest, I've not had the time to put a lot of thought into the power rankings. Probably shouldn't have Bigsby as high as I have. Scrapdoor, I probably should have kept you like at 6 maybe, and maybe put Tank at, I don't know. Because Skunk Boy, looking at his team, really benefited from that Thursday night shootout that you mentioned with Kirk Cousins, with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and he had even dropped Darnell Mooney. This guy is heavily invested in the Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals. It's just, I'm not a fan. I don't think any of us, our general advice is you need to diversify your volume across a couple different teams, at least good teams. I mean, Atlanta's competitive so far this year, but I think he just really benefited from. Do we think Atlanta's? I mean, you just said Kirk Cousins is not going to throw for 500 yards again. Is Atlanta for real?
They are playing the Panthers, though. They're in a weak division. The NFC South is pretty soft. The Saints just took a huge blow. Derek Carr is going to miss multiple games. So it's not the worst team to invest in. I always think about, and I talk about this with Morgan a lot, going back to our days where we played fantasy basketball. It's not quite the same as like just, back in the day, it used to be like, yeah, you just grab the center for the Minnesota Timberwolves because they have a bad offense. And so what that is going to lead to is a lot of rebounds, defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds for their power forward and their center. It's kind of the same with the Falcons where they don't have a great defense. And so even if they're up in games, it's still going to be competitive. Kirk is always going to be able to throw the ball and keep guys involved, but you just kind of never know who's going to pop off from one week to the next. Unlike in fantasy basketball, when you're like, I know this guy's going to give me 12 boards every single night. One night it might be London. One night it might be Mooney. Might be Pitts, might be Bijan. We've yet to see, like, I'm sure Bijan probably has 2 30-point games in him at some point this year, but you just never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at these power rankings, I need to flip you and Tank Bigsby, the next team.
Well,
Tank,
I don't think any of us that are in this 2-3 to 3-2 range, I don't think anybody is really like streaking right now, right? Like we're all just kind of win one, lose
Well,
one, win one, lose
Blaine's
one.
team is the lowest in points for, and for some he lost, and I moved him up from 7 to 6. So I don't know. I wasn't thinking. You're muted.
Max has something to say, but he's muted.
You like the team. You like Blaine. You know, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay
do
to like
like-
Blaine.
I like the team, but I'm trying to be objective here. He hits on Kareem Hunt, the only Chief that was having a good game in fantasy football.
Mhm.
And Kieran Williams is really solid. Ken Walker. However, the legend of Tank Bigsby.
The secret's out.
It's just getting started. Last year, he's Blaine's Mr. Irrelevant. Nobody knows who he is.
Mhm.
An idea, right? The name
Mhm.
Tank Bigsby. He actually scores 2 touchdowns last week. Etienne's hurt. Everybody knows now. Tank Bigsby is for real.
ETN.
Etienne. Shut. If you fucking correct me again, Etienne. God damn it, Max. Lost my train of thought.
No, Tank. It's just Tank. Tank has arrived. Like and even when ETN was healthy, Tank was that spellback who's coming in and ripping off like the 40-yard, 50-yard rushes, which is so funny because that's what ETN was doing in college with Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. He was like the home run hitter, and now it's totally the inverse, where ETN's getting asked to like get the tough yards, the 2 to 3 yard carries on first down. Nothing too creative. Doug Peterson, weird play caller. All of a sudden, though, Tank Bigsby enters the game, and it's like, oh yeah, we realize that we can have a zone scheme to our run game, or we can do some crackback blocking and like pitch it out and get him out in space. And as an ETN owner, it's frustrating to see, but it's just so funny that it's happening to Tank. That Tank's the benefactor of it because this league, we all have such an affinity for this guy.
We love him. He's one of our guys. Speaking of one of our guys, though, just a little side note, would like to apologize to your buddy who asked us who to start, and we told him Sam Darnold.
I got to circle back with O'Shea and see if he actually did start Darnold.
I think we lost a listener. God damn it. But this is not only does he have Tank Bigsby, Blaine does, but he also has Tank Dell. He's got a couple tanks on his team.
And Tank Dell he's now once again healthy. It's been a rough start to his career as far as injuries are concerned with Tank Dell. He's been hurt both seasons, but yes, Nico Collins now on IR. So you think Tank Dell, big increase in volume if he can stay healthy.
Yep. Next, here, another one. These power rankings don't make sense. I need to edit this. This is terrible. Andy Stack, he lost, and I moved him up from 6 to 5. What am I doing? You probably should have stayed up a little bit higher.
You love Andy. Everyone knows that.
It's not about Andy.
I think it is a delicate balance of looking at teams and where they're at. Just because, maybe somebody loses doesn't necessarily mean that they shouldn't move up, because like in my case, I lose by 60 points and I got to figure out this Patrick Mahomes situation. And so I think that this still makes, like you just talked pretty highly about Blaine's team with good reasoning when you mention all the players that are performing for him right now.
He's done a good job of remodeling his team.
Yeah.
And he's 3-2. He's well positioned for the future. Andrew, I'm not so sure. We just mentioned Nico Collins is now on IR. That was his WR1, and obviously the top 2 wide receiver in the league. T. Higgins did have a good game. Lazard's been solid. God, Mark Andrews this year. That's a really interesting one. I mean, Andrews still has some headaches with Bijan and Algier. I don't think he's a top 4 or 5 team in the league, though. We'll see. Andrew, your time is limited. We'll go to the main thing. That would be lose squad. He got a big win, 134. Trevor Lawrence sighting. Everyone was about to say, but had a good game and got the win over the Colts. Although he gets 134, even though Zach Charbonnet had like 2 carries, 4 points. Bucky Irving had a fumble, 4 points. Running backs were weak. But Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Kittle, DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Hey, should someone pick up Caleb Williams? Do we like the Bears?
We'll see. I'm tell you what, the guy throws the ball a ton.
A lot of volume. So I moved Lou up to 4, and that one makes sense. And then I kept the top 3 the same. Although Colin is on a tear, 150.
Yeah.
37
Jamar
Chase. A down game from DK Metcalf, but that's his flex.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Right. Nakua Matata, 126. And then I don't know. I could have dropped Camille, but I still think Camille's made some changes in his lineup. I mean, Aaron Jones got hurt. He had dropped Isaiah Likely for Njoku. And Isaiah Likely, I think, caught a touchdown. Really sneaky. Can't predict tight ends this year. But they're all 4-1 at the top of the standings. Something else I want to call out about the app, and I actually like this, and this is kind of another reason that maybe I don't need to do these power ranking things, but have anyone noticed the matchup recap?
No.
Go to scoreboard.
I think it's dumb.
I like it. I'm a fan. Week 5, you go to the last week, previous week.
Okay. Matchup recap.
And they kind of give you like a game of the week recap, like closest game, with a little like pretty good analysis. I thought
that is neat. That is neat.
It kind of just like does the top scoring players and most valuable bench warmers, which would Tank Bigsby this week. Rico Dowdle is another guy that I think Kepler's about to start. Someone I should have fucking picked up earlier in the year, but didn't. And they have false starters, game changers. I like this on the ESPN app. If you're not using the ESPN app for fantasy football, I don't know what you're doing. And then there's even this week's matchup probabilities, but I guess we'll get into that. Let's anyways, just wanted to shout out ESPN's app and a little recap on the app there. Let's get into recent activity.
Yeah, looking at the starting with the offers report here, we knew because of that last minute drop of Darnell Mooney before Thursday Night Football last week, that he would be a huge commodity on the open market once waivers cleared last night. And sure enough, Ball Hogs Colin bolsters that wide receiving core that's already really strong of his, spends $26 on him. So cool to see Colin active with his fab there. And he did the right thing because we've kind of talked about maybe people are listening. Maybe it's just this like common thread of the way we sort of all think and treat our fab. But Jordan goes in for a $17 bid. I'm sure he's thinking, okay, most people are going to put in 15, so I'll put in 17. And then Andy Stack and Tank Bigsby. So Andrew and Blaine both go with the $21 bid, probably thinking, okay, if people go 20, then I'll be able to snag him at 21. Colin ends up getting him for the aforementioned value of 26. And I like that he went 26 because he's probably thinking if someone went 25, kind of those like $5 increments, you gotta bump it up $1 to make sure you get your guy. So that's a great looking at this offers report. This is probably one of the best of the year. Just kind of seeing that there's not a real big gap there versus, like dollars spent versus how cheap a player could have gone for. So only going $5 above market value for Colin. That's a great ad. I mean, he's had a couple of huge games, and so he's 14th. Darnell Mooney is on the year, but that that balances out a little bit because there was a 2-point game in there. There's a 7-point game in there. He's a little banged up right now, but still obviously a new favorite target of Kirk Cousins in that offense.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you can't expect the volume to be consistent, but he's been a home run hitter, and he has been a solid contributor. And I think that finally, maybe, I don't know how long we've been doing the fab budget, like 3, 4, 5 years.
Probably about 5 probably.
It's like funny, like every year there is that one backup fucking running back that someone blows their load on. This year is the worst. I think with the exception of Carson Steele, everyone else has actually been very reasonable in our bids and our valuation. And
well, didn't we see Isaiah? We saw Isaiah likely go for a whole lot of money too, and then he's turned around and dropped a couple weeks later. So I can't say that was all that great.
True.
You're getting on me for yawning, and you're over there stuffing your face.
I'm so hungry, bro.
Yeah, can you please don't chew into the mic.
Hey, it's my show, motherfucker.
All right. Well, I'll just cruise through these. As what are you getting into over there? Some noodles or something? As Tim's having his dinner. Breesby with you, Max.
Goose.
Okay, very nice. Max adds the Texans defense for $6. Max, you want to talk about that? You can pop back in here real quick and
they're
talk about why you targeted them.
They're playing against a rookie quarterback. Drake May is making his debut this week in New England. They've got a good pass. They got a good pass rush. So we're hoping lots of sacks. We're hoping interceptions.
Next couple of weeks could still be pretty solid too. It might not just be a streamer because they're at Green Bay, which you don't maybe love, but still that's not bad. And then home to Indianapolis and then at the Jets. None of those offenses really scare you.
Unfortunately not. Especially that Jets team.
Yeah. Your poor Brees. Yeah.
Please Hall.
And then, so we have Jalen Tolbert, who goes for $2, wide receiver 2 for the Cowboys. Jordan picks him up. And then, a lot of after hours trading, defenses, kickers, people making bye week adjustments. Guys, rookies out there. I think Andy's now had Ladd McConkey twice on his team, perhaps. Roshan Johnson is getting bounced around a bunch, rookie running back for the Bears. And then, I can just talk about a couple of moves that I made just before we came on the air here.
Roll up there a little bit, Max. Oh, never mind.
I do get Kirk Cousins, which I was surprised to see him still available because I was not paying attention this morning when waivers cleared, or even last night when I could have put in a bid, not knowing really, honestly, that I had all the Chiefs on a bye this week. So felt very fortunate to get Kirk Cousins. And then the Ravens defense, they're going against, I believe it's the Commanders this week. And so Ravens D, I'm not quite ready to drop them, but I am going to sit them again this week. And I went out and grabbed the Buccaneers defense because they also, now Spencer Rattler's not a rookie, but he's making one of his first NFL starts, if not his first NFL start for the Saints this week as the backup to Derek Carr. So sitting the Ravens, starting the Buccaneers, feel pretty good about that. That's basically it. Damian Pierce goes back to Camille. He's been banged up to start the year, but so is Joe Mixon. So on a good Texans offense that has a few holes to fill now with Nico Collins being out, that running back situation is kind of there for the taking. Like we've seen Dario Agumbawale get in the end zone. We've seen Joe Mixon at the beginning of the year be effective. And so we know whoever is in that role can produce fantasy-wise. So maybe Camille gets a score there with Damian Pierce. Who knows? His rookie year was really good. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it could be a steal. And the thing about Kirk Cousins being available on the waiver wire, it just goes to show how deep quarterback is. For all you amateur fantasy managers, wait on a quarterback. You can always find one. The times I've won it was with Blake Bortles and Daniel Jones. So I thought about picking up Kurt, but then you snagged him, and I was waiting too. I was kind of like, I didn't put any bids in. I was like, someone will be available,
Right.
All right, let's go to weekly previews.
Let's do it. Start with the age-old rivalry here, since it's first on Max's screen.
Age old. Max, what's your game plan this week?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if Chun watches this show, but this guy right here, this guy's hungry. He's hungry for a win. He's ready for a win.
That looks like Tim right now.
Damn. You were so blonde as a baby. Holy shit.
He's ready to eat, and we're excited about AJ Brown being back. We're officially on Brees Hall or Fleece Hall. Look, we're watching that right now. If they can't get it together after firing Bob Saleh today, that could go down as a really, really bad first round pick. So we're gonna have to hope that Brees Hall can get it together, and that whole offense, and Aaron Rodgers. Now that Rodgers is like probably the coach and the quarterback.
For real, that's what I was thinking.
Please, God damn it, please, Brees Hall, please act like a second overall pick.
You usually see this with teams. Teams will galvanize and kind of come together after a head coach is fired. They want to prove that, yes, it's not us.
Yeah. Seattle's still banged up on the defensive line, so I'm expecting Jordan Mason to have a better game this week.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr., who I've had the most calls this week about Brian Thomas Jr. from the rest of the league.
Top 10 wide receiver. I hope you're hanging up.
Top 10 stud. No one's blown me off my blown my rocks off yet with an offer. So we're excited about him going up against Chicago as well. Hopefully that's another shootout. And then I'm trying out the old double tight end here. Laporta,
you ever done this before? You ever rocked two tight ends, one in the flex?
Maybe once before. Laporta, had a positive game before his bye week, an extra week to get ready for Dallas, that defense is not what it was last year. And in Dallas, a kind of a statement game for the Lions if they can go in there and beat up on them. So we hope Laporta gets in the end zone. Tucker Kraft, who really outperformed his projection last week and went off against LA. We're hoping, again, another kind of cupcake defense here in the NFC West. So we can't wait for another shootout there. And we hope that volume or the opportunity continues. And then I love my specialty positions. Frankie is going to be my ride or die, I think, for the rest of the year. Yeah, he was great last week.
He's dope.
Yeah, he's really, really good. Again, we talked about Texans going up against a rookie quarterback, and then Washington, which is a top offense, despite my hatred towards the beginning of the year. That kicker kicks points, so we love that.
Look at all those injuries. Wow. Eckler, A-Chain, Jones. I mean,
A-Chain. Luckily, A-Chain's on a bye. He got concussed. I think Eckler's and Downs like tweaked an ankle or something. They're fine though.
Well, looking over at Morgan's side, I mean, he's got Burrow coming off his best game of the year. Clearly, he's going against the Giants. Now we'll kind of get to see who the Giants really are. How do they deal with the success of their win last week? And
they shut down one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. So the passing leader in the league.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They still allowed him to throw for a lot of yards. There was just a couple of unfortunate circumstances that
Turnovers,
Yeah,
fourth
exactly.
down, blocked field goal.
Yep,
Let's
prevented those
talk about
yards.
the Seahawks. I can't hold
Oh,
back longer. Let's talk about them. Can we
Okay.
talk about them?
Welcome to Hawk Talk, the podcast within the podcast. What do you want to say, Kamish?
Oh man, the Seattle Seahawks lay an egg. They lose at home, a rare home loss against a perceived weak Giants team who was without their top rookie sensation Malik Neighbors and their starting running back.
What wins football games in the NFL, Tim?
Well, you have to run the ball. You have
Sure,
to play defense.
which they still did. The defense, there it is.
We didn't run the ball. We didn't even have the ball.
No, I'm saying the Giants did. The Giants
the
ran the
Giants.
ball and played great defense.
And they won the game.
Yeah.
And that's the formula for success in the NFL. It will always be that way. I
will say.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I thought you.
Let him cook. Let him cook. I apologize.
I don't care if you're Ryan Grubb or I'm hating on Grubb. I think this whole performance goes on the coaching staff. That's what I think. Not that the scheme wasn't right or the game plan, but just like the mentality. I think we slept on the Giants and the team on all phases. I know the defense is still not healthy, but they got a lot of starters back. Did not come out to play. And I'm telling you, Grubb, get Zach Charbonnet involved early in the game. Because as soon as they only run Ken Walker to the outside, he only runs on the perimeter. It's a pitch. Get Zach Charbonnet the ball. I want more of a 50-50 split in this backfield. I think it helps us establish more of a rhythm on offense. And then obviously the no huddle works as well. And there's a lot of success in the passing game, but it's also later in games when we're having to come back and we're playing from behind as well. So the defense can play a little softer. So Mike McDonald, you better fucking wake up.
Two Seahawk drives accounted for half of their yards for the entire game. It was the 2-minute drill at the end of the half and then their 4-minute drill at the end of the game. And on each of those drives, they basically went the length of the field. Other than that, though, there was no consistency to the offense. The same thing that you're saying about Zach Charbonnet, I think can be said for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think this is a guy that needs to have, and I know that there's a lot of mouths to feed, right, on this offense. But if you're sustaining drives, if you're able to, everybody knows you script your first 15 plays. 2 of those should be Jackson Smith and Jigba, first read looks for Geno to try to get him involved. DK's going to win his one-on-ones, but when you can try to open up the middle for JSN and Tyler early in the game, then that's going to give you the ability to have a balanced rushing attack, to get one-on-ones outside on the perimeter for DK. So it's just
attacking the
linebackers, and with Noah Fant, Noah Fant has shown that he's healthy this year and he looks really good. And so it's a little frustrating. It's really frustrating, honestly. But also the offensive line, I thought this was the worst game that they had played this year. I know that the Giants defensive line, their starters combined, they got Brian Burns in the offense or in the offseason to be kind of the anchor of that defensive line. They're the highest paid defensive line in the NFL. So
Dexter Lawrence is a man.
And Dexter Lawrence is a beast. And so they were out there making plays, kind of living up to their contracts, if you will. Every single play I was there watching those guys. They were not coming off the field and they were in our backfield 2 yards, every single play. And then on the other side of the ball, our defense was getting 0 penetration and they were getting blown off the ball by the Giants defensive line. When they're doing design runs to Danny Dimes and Wan'Dale Robinson is out there catching slants and Darius Slayton, who just won't die, just stays consistent year after year. It's a team that it's scrappy, and if you're a Giants fan, it's games like that I think give you hope. But as a Seahawk fan, really frustrating to watch because
the defense was unrecognizable. The first 3 games, Defense was really, really stout, flying around, great tackling, fast. Last 2 games, we've been hot butter, and we haven't had Byron Murphy. I feel like he could be defensive rookie of the year if he plays the whole season, because I think that guy is a huge difference maker.
Also, on that field goal that was blocked, the refs missed a huge call where they held our long snapper down, and then the player jumped over the.
Yeah, I thought that was
that's illegal.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's an illegal move, and that was completely missed by the NFL. And so, we got to be better. The Zebras out there got to be better.
It's 2 weeks in a row the Hawks are kind of getting fleeced by the refs.
It's not in the script.
Well, they got a big Thursday night divisional game. I will be there. Glow will be there. Van Camp will be there. We're tearing up Lumen Field. You might see me on TV. I might be arrested. I don't know. I might storm the field.
Oh my gosh!
Letting them know. That's Hawk Talk.
That's Hawk Talk. Yeah. Good luck tomorrow night. I will not be there. My dad, Tim, was there. He unfortunately suffered a bad pickleball accident the other day. Strained a tendon above his Achilles, and so walking around the clink or whatever it's called now, Lumen Field, on a Thursday night, just kind of not in the cards. So I told him, you know what? It's opening night of the film festival. Put the tickets up for sale. Could be an ugly one. Don't really want to be there for it, but you never know. You never know.
Yeesh. Speedy recovery to Ron.
Ron will be good.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
They
didn't put him
on up here.
Little Picks didn't put him on the IR this week. So that was good. Yeah. No, just questionable.
Questionable. He's week to week.
Yeah, week to week.
Back to the lineup here at hand. I got Chun. I like Chun's lineup. I think this is
no analysis.
Yeah, can I get some analysis? Can I get some thoughts?
We talked about your team.
Talk about my team. Talk about Chun's.
Yeah, I mean, they're all coming off a high-scoring affair here. With the exception of Olave, I'd probably get rid of him. Who's Chun got on the bench?
I think he's got to get rid of Olave if he can. He's got no other wide receivers to do it for, though. Maybe try to trade Baker for another wide receiver. Who knows?
Braylon, yeah, maybe trade Baker Mayfield.
Because you're definitely gonna roll with Burrow after that.
You want to know the trade offer that came in to me from Chun?
Did it involve Baker? Because if so, I'm gonna be pissed.
He offered me Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill for Breece Hall.
Huh.
What do you guys think of that?
Huh.
Interesting. He wants Breece Hall. Who's his running back?
He would have a weekly rotation then of Jacobs, Swift, and Hall.
I mean, they're both underperforming.
They're both underperforming. That gives you Tyreek Hill to play over somebody like Josh Downs, basically. Like you're not getting rid of AJ Brown or Brian Thomas to make this trade. But then at running back, it leaves you with Mason, who does have a shelf life. Maybe not, but seems to probably have a shelf life. I don't think you can do it, man, because a chain is going to have Raheem Mostert after their bye come back, and he's going to start taking carries. So you're going to need all you can get from a chain. You're going to need Eckler.
I don't know why Chun wants to do that. Because Josh Jacobs and DeAndre Swift just had 2 great games.
Yeah, Swift 2 great games back to back.
Yeah.
Chicago, man. Bye. The Bears.
Mm-hmm.
We're spending way too long on this matchup. I know we had Hawk Talk. I'm picking Chun. Max goes to 0-6.
I think more. Jordan Mason might win the whole week for you. I don't know though. Stroud, we'll see what he does without Nico Collins. I think Chun gets big games from Ayuk, his running backs. I think Burrow continues. Your specialty positions could win it for you though. I'll go Max.
That's my guy.
Pity pick. All right. The main thing in Skunk Boy. This is a good game. Both 3-2. Check marks are on Skunk Boy, but I'll tell you right now, I'm picking Lou. I'm picking Lou. I think.
Yeah,
Garrett
Lewis doesn't even have a defense and special teams in there, and the projections are like even.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, he doesn't have Justin Jefferson this week, but he might want to. I mean, what's going on with David Montgomery? He might want to throw him in there.
I think you definitely throw Montgomery in there.
Yeah, solid. I don't know. I guess he hasn't
Top
updated
15
this.
running back.
So I would assume Montgomery's in there because right now he's got Tajay Spears and
Bucky Irving. Yeah, I don't think he hasn't probably looked at this yet this week.
Well, he's got an empty defense.
I imagine Montgomery goes in there, and then it's probably not going to be the Patriots defense against the Texans, even though they are without Nico, of course, but I still don't think you make that play. So he'll get a new defensive unit in there. Boy, I don't know. You're going with Lewis. I don't really see it. Whereas with Matt's team, Matt might be kind of getting hot. Kyler's playing really well. Connor's been super solid and consistent. Drake London's playing well. Kyle Pitt's playing well right now. I don't think we've ever said that sentence on air.
A lot of road games. A lot of road
games. A lot of road games. I think this is going to be a scrappy one, but I'll take Matt.
All right. We're split.
Split so far. This one is impossible to project just because Bobby hasn't done anything with his lineup yet.
I'll tell you right now, you're winning this one. Bobby is a dumpster fire.
I'll say this. Because Bobby's team is impossible to look at, I mean, he's got Tyrone Tracy Jr. in here. That's just because he watched the Giants-Seahawks game last week and decided to pick him up. But, yeah, Kelsey on a bye, Atwell on a bye, Jordan Addison on a bye. The bench doesn't offer a whole lot of reprieve. So I'll say this. This is maybe the best. This is so weird because it's without my Chiefs players, but it makes sense, right? This is probably the best I've felt about my lineup so far this year. Jahmyr Gibbs and Tony Pollard coming back off a bye. Kirk Cousins in at the quarterback position. Stephon Diggs, now the number one target in that Houston passing attack. Wan'Dale Robinson, can't wait to start him after watching him in person last week. The guy gets open. The guy freaking gets open. He is, where is he? He's top 25 right now for wide receivers on the year. I like that. Freiermuth's going in at tight end. He has outperformed Dalton Kincaid. TJ Watt had a big game last week, 17.5 points. That's why I drafted him. And then Buccaneers defense, Younghoe Koo, top 5 kicker. Like, scrappers feel good this week.
Your trio of Steelers are going to have a good game. The Las Vegas Raiders are struggling as much as I love Gardner Minshew.
They benched him.
He's benched. Yeah. And Devontae refuses to play.
Yeah.
He's also a booger eater.
It's just all Brock Bowers.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I know that when you look at the screen here and when you look at the schedule, it says that game's at Las Vegas. That's going to be Acrisure Stadium West. That's a home game for the Steelers.
Yeah, I picked up their defense, so
yeah,
I'm on Steelers. Well, I think that you improve here, and Bobby's in the 12th spot for a reason.
Yeah, my seesaw just continues. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one.
Hey, keep yourself alive.
Yep.
Andy Stack and Nakua Matata. Looks like the check marks are in favor of Kefler here. Brian Robinson Jr. had a hell of a game. I think 2 or 3 touchdowns last week. That Washington offense, give it up for the Commanders. Dan Quinn doing a hell of a job.
Whoa, this Brian Robinson Jr. stat line is insane. 2 touchdowns on 7 attempts for 18 yards. 2 touchdowns.
Line back.
13.8 points. That's wild.
That's all you need, baby.
Yeah, I guess so.
Tomorrow?
Goal line opportunities.
Running back, Lamar Jackson, number 1 quarterback. Amon-Ra St. Brown back off a bye here. Who's not had a great year. That's his first round pick, but I think the Lions kind of got right against the Seahawks.
A homer pick there
Yeah,
with
Wicks.
Dontavion Wicks. I think that's probably because he wishes he had like Jaden Reed on his team. However, Wicks has had a couple boom games, so there's hope.
And if the Dallas Cowboys get it together, Rico Dowdle is going to be a RB2 at least.
He's a problem for sure.
Um,
He can catch the ball. He can run the ball between the tackles. He's a good little player.
Yeah. So I really like Kepler's lineup. Looking at Andrew's lineup.
Couple of questionable bills there, but you hope that Brock Purdy doesn't have a great game on Thursday night. That's a short week. However, Niners lost as well last week. And so talk about trying to be a team that feels cohesive and galvanized and, with a purpose. They have to go on the road. They come up to a divisional opponent. And so we'll see. That's going to be a great game. We'll really see what those two teams are made of.
I'll tell you another divisional matchup. I'm on the Panthers this week in Carolina. Really? Coming off of the hurricane, the community is going to rally around them. They're going to fight and win for the state of North Carolina. I really, Bijan Robinson is a headache with Algier. That's a frustrating situation. There's another battle in New York between the Jets and Buffalo.
Wait, let's unpack this real quick. Bijan Robinson, position ranking 21 right now. He was a top 3 running back. McCaffrey has not played, and you already heard Max talk about Breece Hall. Yikes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, got Saquon at 8. Alvin Kamara, when was he drafted?
Yeah, like second round. Yeah, for sure.
Crazy. We lost our producer, so we're going to keep talking about this one for a bit. I love that Andrew is stuck with Bobby Okrikiri, the first IDP off the board.
I mean, really he's sticking through him, the old adage, the thick and the thin. It's been pretty thin. 6.5 points, 7 points, only 4 points last week against the Hawks, but riding with him.
We're both on Kepler. Matata.
I'm on Kepler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then we'll go to Tank Bigsby and Commissioners. I'm sticking with Gino. I figure even if we lose, we're gonna be throwing.
This is kind of like a grudge matchup week here. You versus Blaine, Max versus Chun. All we need is like Lou versus Camille. I don't know, me versus Kef. Those would have been good.
Yeah. Me and Blaine, it's a good one here. I'm suffering another injury. Michael Pittman Jr. looks like he might go on IR with a back injury. So I've got Cortland Sutton in the flex.
Best wishes to you and Cortland Sutton. Tell you what, man, Bo Nix, professional quarterback, had a hell of a game last week. This guy's the truth.
It's not much for Cortland. A low game against Vegas. Hopefully he gets the volume up. But Saquon's back. Najee Harris has been consistent. We already talked about how optimistic we are on the Steelers this week. Mm-hmm. I think Samuel, he had a terrible week last week, which is so weird. I think they're going to make a point to get him more involved in the offense.
He always kills the Seahawks.
Of course, the Seahawks are. Another frustrating thing here is I'm sticking with Amari Cooper based purely on volume. He might lead the league in targets.
9, 8, 12, 8, 10. Yeah, very good shot. And I'll tell you what, man.
He's got a solid
floor he also leads the league in drops.
I'll tell you what, though. You hold on to Amari Cooper for there's 2 words. There's 2 words while you hold on to Amari Cooper. Jameis Winston. If Jameis comes in and quarterbacks that team, Cooper is going to skyrocket.
Crab legs.
Crab legs. Yeah.
Evan Ingram might come back this week. Maybe he's kind of a solidifying force for Trevor Lawrence. He did lead the league for tight ends and receptions last year. There's been criticism around Trevor Lawrence. Now that Evan Ingram is looking to play, that might bolster Jacksonville's. Maybe it's a shootout in Chicago. That'd be fun.
Could see that
And I
for
did
sure.
pick up the Steelers against Vegas. So I don't know. I'm 50-50. I'll feel a lot better when Devontae Adams gets traded to Baltimore or Buffalo.
Well, then just kind of looking at your opponent here, I feel like, Blaine is such a helter-skelter type of manager where some weeks you just feel like he's got it, and other weeks, I think that's why that's why he's a tough one for you to rank in the weekly rankings there. This week, I feel like it's a little bit of a tougher one because now that Tank Bigsby might have this great opportunity. Can he get it done in Chicago with maybe being the feature guy? We'll see. JSN, tough Thursday night game. Tank Dell coming off of an injury. Expectations are high. Kenneth Walker, same deal, tough game. J.K. Dobbins, that could be a good one. I believe the Chargers are coming off a bye week. And so hopefully that's an offense that has figured some things out. Josh Allen always crushes the Jets, though. And so you can imagine that if Blaine's going to win this week, it's going to be on the shoulders of like a 25-point Josh Allen game. I think that for the most part, specialty teams are pretty even with an edge going to you just because of, Kaimi Fairbairn's been so good and Pittsburgh defense we think is going to eat. So I think
Logan Wilson's due for an interception.
Okay. Calling it right now. I like it. And he's been steady with that one, right? Like 7.5. Very, very serviceable. I think you got this one here, commissioners.
Am I crazy? Where is Devontae Adams?
IR.
It's
in my IR spot.
As questionable.
I dropped him. He's available right now.
That's weird.
No, he's in my IR. I don't know why it doesn't show up, but
yeah, that's weird. I feel like it's been showing up earlier. Maybe not.
Hamstring isn't expected to play for the Raiders in Sunday's game against the Steelers. And this was yesterday's news. So he's done, man. He doesn't want to play. My second round pick. It sucks. I'll be interested to see if Blaine keeps Ferguson in because he did pick up Taysom Hill. I'd be so pissed if it's a Taysom game and he calls it and I lose that. So hopefully I win. I have no idea. I need to win.
All right, then this is a great game of the week here.
We love to see 2 4-1 teams play each other. Here's Colin, the one who always says we don't give him enough credit, against Camille, the quiet killer. He's got a lot of the check marks Camille does, and he doesn't have his RB2 in the lineup yet right now, but he's got the rookie sensation, Jaden Daniels. Derrick Henry was a great pick. That probably should have been a top 5 pick in the first round. Another rookie sensation, Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Godwin, David Njoku, and then the namesake CeeDee Lamb in the flex. Yeah, Derrick Henry's been solid.
I can't believe Derrick Henry. I just looked 21st overall pick. Wow.
21st.
21st overall pick.
What are we smoking?
Such a steal. Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm a little bit disappointed in our draft this year. I think too many people drank the Kool-Aid and just went wide receiver.
Or the rookie running backs or the second-year running backs, right? Where people are just like, it's going to be a breakout for Bijan. Like, no offense to Max, but it's going to be a breakout for Brees. All these different,
I think, and then we kind of
new toys.
assume that these running backs have such a short shelf life. They're like, oh, it's like every year it gets a little bit younger. They're like, once he's 30, it's like, oh no, Kamara, he's 29. Like Derrick Henry, he's 28. They're getting so much volume you can't predict injuries, I mean, medical science is getting better and these guys are taking care of their bodies better and better as well. So these big running back names are showing it this year. They deserve to be first round picks. On Colin's side of things.
Well, I was just going to say, it's going to be interesting to see what Camille does to back up Derrick Henry with his RB2. And you see that's why he goes out and gets somebody like Dameon Pierce off waivers because he really doesn't have anybody else to fill that spot right now. So that is a little tough for him. I think that some of the injuries that he experienced last week against you, which led to the loss and your victory, still might kind of linger over into this game, despite him having a high projection and the percentage marks right now. But that's also because Colin has a few guys in his lineup, at least his kicker, that's on a bye still.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones is injured and also on a bye. I would probably assume Camille puts Trey Sermon in there. I don't know how good Tennessee's defense is, or Damian Pierce, but I guess they're both questionable. So that's the decision. Trey Sermon or Damian Pierce. Trey Sermon had 10 carries and a touchdown. What did Damian Pierce do this year?
Well, Damian Pierce just really hasn't done anything this year because he's been hurt.
He hasn't even played.
The tough thing about Trey Sermon is I don't know the health of Jonathan Taylor right now.
Oh, and he might play. Yeah. So that's probably what Camille's waiting on.
Yeah.
We'll see. Colin's got injuries on his side as well, but none in the current lineup.
Yeah, and he's got the best wide receivers in the league.
Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf. That could win him the game right there.
That could win him the league right there.
I hate Chuba Hubbard and Chase Brown, but
Chuba Hubbard, top 10 running back.
Top 10 running back this year. That's a joke. Tough.
Max loves to see it.
Always been a fan of old Chuba.
Yeah, you spent a lot of money.
Been banging the Chuba drum for a long time.
This is going to be a good game, I think.
It's going to be a really good game. I'm leaning. I think there's more firepower, more healthy firepower right now on Colin's team.
I'd agree with that.
This is a completely different game if it's Aaron Jones and Malik Neighbors in there for Camille, but because of injuries and bye weeks, some of those guys just aren't available.
Yeah, I think Camille slides here, and I think Colin continues to rise, and he gets his due. I'm going to pick Colin to win this week.
Yep, same.
Excuse me. Well, thank you for joining me for dinner.
Dinner with Tim, yeah.
Appreciate it. Set your lineups. Keep your head up if you haven't won a game yet.
Yeah.
Keep your head up if you're 0-5.
We're hungry.
Got nothing to lose. All right. Thanks for joining us, even though no one fucking did. But I know you're listening now. Love ya.